There was a time when buying the most expensive car in the world was enough to stand out. Not anymore. Today, some of the wealthiest collectors are skipping the showroom altogether and going somewhere most people have never even heard of. Coachbuilders. Instead of choosing a car from a catalog, they're sitting down with designers, selecting every curve, every material, and every tiny detail until the final creation exists for one person and one person only. No production line. No identical twin, just a single automobile built around someone's imagination. So why are these Coach-built masterpieces becoming even more desirable than traditional luxury cars? The answer reveals a fascinating side of the automotive world that few people ever get to see. Carrozzeria Touring Superleggera. Let's start with a name that has been quietly creating beautiful automobiles for decades. Carrozzeria Touring Superleggera doesn't try to compete with major manufacturers. It doesn't need to. Its clients aren't looking for another production car. They're looking for something that tells a story. A customer might arrive with an ordinary Grand Tourer and leave months later with something that looks completely different. New body panels, a redesigned interior, details inspired by classic Italian masterpieces. The mechanical foundation might remain familiar, but visually the transformation can be extraordinary. That's what makes coach building so fascinating. It isn't about starting from zero. It's about taking something already special and turning it into something nobody else owns. Imagine attending a luxury car event where there are 20 identical performance cars parked side by side. Then one unique coach-built creation arrives. Guess where the crowd walks first? Now here's something most people never think about. Mass production is built around efficiency. Coach building is built around patience. Zagato. If you've ever looked at a Zagato creation, you've probably noticed something unusual. The designs don't always follow trends. Some are bold, some are unconventional, some even divide opinions. And that's exactly why collectors love them. Zagato has never tried to make everyone happy. Instead, it creates cars with personality. Cars that people remember. Take the famous double bubble roof. It wasn't added because someone thought it looked cool. It originally served a practical purpose by creating more headroom while keeping the roofline low. Years later, it became one of the company's signature design elements. That's the beauty of coach building. A functional solution eventually becomes a piece of automotive art. Today, many collectors actively search for Zagato-built cars because they know they're buying something with its own identity, not just another version of an existing model. Now imagine waiting months, not because the factory is behind schedule, but because artisans are still perfecting tiny details by hand. That's completely normal in this world. Nobody's rushing. Nobody's trying to break production records. The goal isn't speed, it's excellence. Aries Modena. If traditional coach builders focus on preserving history, Aries Modena takes a completely different approach. The company asks a much more daring question. What if the perfect luxury car doesn't exist yet? Instead of simply restoring classics or making subtle modifications, Aries creates dramatic reinterpretations that often look like concept cars brought to life. Some projects completely transform the appearance of modern performance cars. Others revive legendary designs using today's engineering. It's an unusual mix of nostalgia and innovation. That's why collectors pay attention. They're not buying another luxury automobile. They're investing in an idea, something that couldn't have existed without imagination. And because every project is produced in extremely limited numbers, owners know they're unlikely to park next to another identical example. That kind of exclusivity is becoming harder to find every year. Here's what makes coach building different from almost every other corner of the automotive industry. Most manufacturers ask, how can we build this car for thousands of customers? Coach builders ask, how can we build this car for one? That single change in thinking transforms the entire process. Instead of compromise, there's conversation. Instead of choosing from a brochure, there's collaboration. Instead of accepting what's available, clients become part of the creative journey itself. By the time the finished car finally rolls out of the workshop, it doesn't feel like something that was purchased. It feels like something that was created together. And maybe that's the real reason coach-built cars have become so desirable. People at this level aren't searching for another luxury car. They're searching for something that reflects their own personality, something impossible to copy, something that tells the world, this wasn't built for everyone. As you'll see, the next coach builders take that philosophy even further, creating automobiles so personal and so exclusive that even many billionaires never get the chance to commission one. And that's where coach building becomes something much bigger than car design. It becomes trust. Think about it. If you're spending millions on a one-of-one automobile, you're not handing your ideas to just anyone. You're choosing people who understand your vision before a single sketch is drawn. That's why the next names have earned so much respect among collectors. Mulliner. Most people know Bentley, far fewer know Mulliner. And that's exactly what makes it so special. Long before personalization became fashionable, Mulliner was already creating bespoke automobiles for clients who wanted something no showroom could offer. Even today, some customers spend more time discussing colors, materials, and handcrafted details than they do talking about horsepower. That probably sounds strange to most people. But at this level, performance isn't what makes a car unforgettable. Personality does. A single piece of wood might be selected because it reminds the owner of a family estate. A leather color could match a favorite watch that's been passed down through generations. Special embroidery might quietly represent a family crest without anyone else noticing. None of those details make the car faster, they make it meaningful. And that's worth far more to the people commissioning these masterpieces. Pininfarina. Now here's a name that has shaped some of the most beautiful automobiles ever created. But Pininfarina isn't respected simply because of its history. It's respected because it understands something many designers never fully master. Restraint. The hardest part of design isn't adding another line. It's knowing when to stop. That's why so many Coachbuilt creations from Pininfarina feel timeless. They don't chase trends. They avoid unnecessary drama. Every curve has a purpose. Every proportion feels balanced. When collectors approach a design house like this, they aren't asking for something loud. They're asking for something that will still look beautiful 30 or 40 years from now. That's a much harder challenge. Fashion changes every season. Timeless design rarely changes at all. Bertone. Then there's Bertone, a company that built its reputation by refusing to think like everyone else. Some of its most famous creations looked futuristic long before the rest of the industry caught up. At first, those designs often surprised people. Sometimes they even divided opinion. Years later, many became icons. That's one of the most interesting things about Coachbuilders. They're not trying to predict what people love today. They're trying to create something people will still admire decades from now. That takes confidence, because when you're creating only a handful of cars, every decision matters. There isn't another production run waiting to fix mistakes. You get one chance to make something unforgettable. After looking at these remarkable companies, something becomes obvious. Coachbuilders aren't competing with luxury brands. They're offering something luxury brands simply can't. Freedom. A traditional manufacturer has to think about thousands of customers, safety regulations, production costs, assembly lines, global demand. Coachbuilders have a very different conversation. What do you want? It's such a simple question, yet it changes everything. Instead of asking buyers to adapt to the car adapts to the buyer. That's why no two commissions are ever truly alike. Every project reflects a different personality, a different dream, a different story. And maybe that's why coachbuilding has become more desirable than ever. The world's wealthiest collectors already own extraordinary cars. Buying another one isn't difficult. Owning something that nobody else can recreate, that's the real challenge, because exclusivity has changed. It isn't about having the most expensive badge anymore. It's about owning something that exists because of your imagination. In a world filled with mass production, that's becoming incredibly rare. And rarity has always been the greatest luxury of all. So the next time you see a Coach-built automobile, don't think of it as just another expensive car. Think of it as a conversation between a dream and the people talented enough to turn that dream into metal, leather, and glass. That's something no production line will ever be able to copy. If you enjoyed discovering the hidden world of Coachbuilders, make sure you subscribe. There are countless incredible stories behind the rarest automobiles ever created, and in our next video we'll uncover another fascinating side of luxury cars that proves true exclusivity is about far more than a price tag.